Whoa, Cosmic family. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the channel known as We Are Cosmic, where we simplify the complex world of finance and cryptocurrency in the most straightforward manner imaginable. In the event that you are new to our site, I will serve as your guide through the ever-evolving world of cryptocurrency, providing you with insights into what is actually taking place behind the headlines. Since the year 2020, you have been a part of this journey. And today we announce that we have officially reached 65,000 members. You are aware of how much I appreciate. Are you able to trust that? From 65,000 to 65,000, each and every one of you is important, and your support is what keeps this channel continuing strong. Now that we have everything out of the way, let's dive right into the action since things are heating up in the cryptocurrency arena. Consider the following scenario. The money printer is operating at full capacity, and it is prepared to introduce enormous amounts of capital into the economy. XRP and other risk-on assets are immediately impacted by this, so it's not just a matter of numbers on paper. When these injections take place, assets such as XRP have a tendency to experience a jump in value. This is something that we can learn from history. Cosmic family, the celebration begins at $100, and I will explain why that is the case. Recently, Brad Garlinghouse, the chief executive officer of Ripple, divulged some observations that are causing a stir in the cryptocurrency community. You have a recipe for exciting market shifts if you combine that with significant movements from the NASDAQ at the same time. Weekday stock trading hours on the NASDAQ are going to be extended to 23 hours according to the NASDAQ. It is possible that this will involve the incorporation of blockchain technology such as XRPL, which is a significant step because it indicates the widespread acceptance of crypto infrastructure. Imagine the potential synergy that might result from Ripple's technology being used to power a portion of the future of stock trading. As far as the economy is concerned, things are looking very fascinating. A modest increase in unemployment rates has brought them to 4.6%, which is the highest level since September 2021. On the other hand, the Federal Reserve has injected a total of $5.2 billion into the banking system of the United States through processes known as overnight repos. The current liquidity injection is the sixth largest since COVID, surpassing even the period of time when the dot-com bubble was in effect. A clear statement has been made by the government regarding its plan, which is to further stimulate the economy, which may result in significant checks being issued to Americans in the near future. Recently, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made a veiled reference to the possibility of tax refunds ranging from $1,000 to $2,000 being issued in the first quarter of 2026. In addition, if the past is any indication, this infusion of wealth will typically cause risk-on assets such as XRP to increase in value. Recently, the market has experienced declines, yet what is noteworthy is the fact that a significant number of XRP investors are purchasing the decline. This provides us with a significant piece of information. The community is aware of the fundamental terms. It is possible that the general market sentiment is one of fear. Nevertheless, astute investors are aware that the underlying technology and regulatory advancements of XRP make it ideally positioned for growth. Ripple, in point of fact, has just lately become a bank that is regulated by the federal government, which improves the asset's validity and potential over the long term. Here is the most important thing to take away from today's section. The combination of economic stimulus, increased usage of blockchain technology such as XRPL, and solid fundamentals for XRP produces a situation that is similar to a pressure cooker. Despite the fact that market mood is low and fear is high, the possibility of a significant rebound is stronger than it has ever been. These are precisely the kinds of things that astute investors are getting ready for. Cosmic family, if you are interested in Ripple, XRP, and staying ahead of the curve when it comes to cryptocurrency news, then you should leave an X in the comments section and hit the like button. However, this is just the beginning. In the following sections, we will delve deeper into regulatory changes, global economic repercussions, and the specific reasons why XRP may experience a major shift in the very near future. In recent years, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has taken steps that a number of judges have deemed to be arbitrary and unreasonable. These realities, however, are frequently ignored by mainstream media, which focuses solely on negative storylines in order to legitimize what some people view to be a legal assault against cryptocurrency. The media may be able to instill panic, but astute investors are aware that they should focus on the fundamentals rather than just the headlines. For those who have XRP, this is of the utmost importance. The asset is not merely surviving, it is really growing stronger behind the scenes. What is the significance of this? Regulatory certainty is the foundation upon which the long-term growth of any asset is built. XRP has lately made major achievements, particularly with its status as a bank that is authorized by the federal government, which demonstrates that the United States government is beginning to embrace blockchain innovation in a responsible manner. A comparison may be made between today and the past, when Gary Gensler's leadership was regarded as being overbearing and restricted. A framework that protects personal freedoms while also stimulating innovation is currently being aggressively supported by prominent persons like as Paul Atkins, who is a member of the Crypto Task Group. The significance of this for XRP lies in the fact that it indicates legitimacy and long-term usage. At the moment, a great number of investors are experiencing dread, which is actually a positive sign. Throughout the course of market history, anxiety in the market has created the ideal conditions for robust comeback. In point of fact, investors in XRP are buying the dips, demonstrating their faith in the fundamentals rather than being persuaded by fear-driven headlines. Simply put, this is the kind of activity that frequently comes before significant price movements. There is a gap between the feeling of the general population and the real fundamentals of the market, which is another fascinating aspect. Despite the fact that fear indices and mainstream media both give the impression of uncertainty, economic data presents a different narrative. In order to create an environment that is more risk-taking, the government is providing stimulus, interest rates are low, and liquidity injections such as overnight repos totaling $5.2 billion are there. This indicates that assets such as XRP, which are fundamentally robust, are in a good position to benefit from the situation. There is a straightforward lesson to be learned from this, Cosmic family. Do not allow the headlines dictate your choices. In spite of the fact that the market is currently experiencing a gloomy sentiment, this is a bullish setup because of the regulatory clarity, strong fundamentals, and strategic adoption of XRP's blockchain technology. When faced with this opportunity, astute investors differentiate themselves from the rest of the crowd. Holders of XRP are confident despite the fact that many people are afraid because they are aware that these conditions frequently precede a significant upward advance. Last but not least, here is something to keep in mind. Feeling and fundamentals do not always move together seamlessly. There is a pressure cooker being created as a result of the current unfavorable sentiment. That pressure will be released when clarity is achieved, whether it be through regulatory updates, adoption, or economic stimulation. At that time, we may observe major price activity. Cosmic family, this is the reason why it is essential for any XRP investor to have a solid understanding of the dynamic relationship that exists between regulation, media narratives, and market emotion. A recent increase in the unemployment rate in the United States brought it to 4.6%, which is the highest level since September 2021. It is possible that this might appear to be unfavorable in a normal situation. However, when coupled with strong liquidity injections from the Federal Reserve, such as the $5.2 billion overnight repos, which are the sixth largest since COVID, it produces a setting that is one of a kind. The financial sector is flooded with cash as a result of these injections, which encourages risk-taking behavior in their markets. It is for this reason that investors in assets such as XRP should pay special attention. When liquidity is strong, money pours into growth-oriented assets, and historically, cryptocurrency has benefited greatly from this phenomenon. It was recently predicted by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent that Americans could receive tax refunds ranging from $1,000 to $2,000 in the first quarter of 2026. In the event that the past occurs again, such as in the year 2021, these kinds of direct cash infusions have a tendency to boost the financial markets. How come? As a result of the fact that individuals frequently spend a portion of these cash for investments, which drives increased demand for items such as XRP. Consequently, this indicates that holders of XRP may see increased buying pressure, which normally results in the price increasing. The price of XRP has just witnessed a decline. However, astute investors are already purchasing the dip, which demonstrates trust in the fundamentals rather than reacting emotionally to market anxiety by purchasing the dip. When significant sums of capital are introduced into the market, we frequently observe price increases that follow these troughs. In my opinion, this results in what I like to refer to as a bullish rebound setup. Despite the fact that the market attitude is generally negative, the fundamental economic fundamentals are favorable for business expansion. Concerning the disconnection between sentiment and fundamentals, there is yet another fascinating fact. After several months of reading unfavorable headlines, a lot of people are feeling fatigued and afraid. However, this is precisely the time when investors in XRP are doing well. Despite the fact that retail traders may have left the market, individuals who are aware of the legislative developments, financial partnerships, and technological acceptance of XRP are preparing themselves for what may be a big spike. In the same way that technical charts and news headlines are important, macroeconomic conditions are also important. A number of indicators, including unemployment trends, liquidity injections, and stimulus checks, can be used to determine where the money might move next. For those that own XRP, this indicates that the foundation is being prepared for prospective improvements despite the fact that the market as a whole appears to be unclear. Stay cool. Make sure you have a solid understanding of the fundamentals, and keep an eye on how the emotion of the market aligns with the events that are occurring on a global level. XRP is an example of an asset that is fundamentally strong, and when these elements are combined, they frequently result in explosive price action. It is time to zoom out and take a look at the global picture now that we have discussed economic statistics and market activity. In particular, we will be focusing on the developments on the NASDAQ and how XRP is positioned for widespread adoption. The key to understanding why XRP might be on the verge of something significant is to have a solid understanding of these linkages. The NASDAQ recently made public its intention to extend trading hours during the weekdays to a total of 23 hours. At first look, this could appear to be a minor adjustment to the way operations are carried out, yet it has the potential to be revolutionary. How is it? Through the implementation of blockchain technology such as XRPL, NASDAQ would be able to conduct deals in a more expedient, secure, and worldwide manner. Not only is this a theory, but Ripple has been working with major financial institutions for years to ensure that the implementation of blockchain technology is as smooth as possible. If the NASDAQ were to utilize the technology of XRP, it would be a significant turning point for the adoption of cryptocurrencies by institutions. Think back to the Ripple Swell conferences where Monica Long, the president of Ripple, discussed the company with executives from NASDAQ. Without anybody else present, they most likely discussed the ways in which blockchain technology could enhance the efficiency and transparency of trading. XRP's distributed ledger technology is already being tested in numerous financial systems throughout the world, demonstrating that adoption is not just hype, but rather a reality. This is not speculation. Countries like Japan are at the forefront of cryptocurrency innovation, while the United States is constantly working to improve the clarity of its regulatory process. When opposed to the years that came before, the difference that exists today is significant. The market now has authorities and institutions actively designing frameworks to allow for the rise of cryptocurrencies without holding back innovation. In his role as a senior figure within the United States Crypto Task Force, Paul Atkins has placed a strong emphasis on safeguarding individual liberties while also facilitating blockchain innovation. This is precisely the kind of climate in which XRP flourishes, since it combines robust fundamentals with the legitimacy of relevant regulatory organizations. The way in which the sentiment of markets around the world interacts with these changes is another element that should be mentioned. There may be a lot of anxiety in retail markets, but there is a growing interest from institutional investors. Exchanges, banks, and other significant participants in the financial industry are increasingly investigating XRPL for the purpose of facilitating cross-border payments, improving trading efficiency, and managing liquidity. Those that hold XRP should take this as a sign that adoption is not merely a potential for the future. Rather, it is already taking place, albeit in the background of the news. A favorable regulatory climate in the United States, widespread adoption trends around the world, and the possibility that NASDAQ would use XRP all come together to create a perfect storm for the expansion of XRP. Institutional players are placing themselves strategically, which often suggests long-term upward momentum for assets like XRP. Retail traders may be reluctant, but institutional players are positioning themselves strategically. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, under Gary Gensler, adopted a heavy-handed approach to cryptocurrency in the past, which frequently caused investors and developers to experience uncertainty. On the other hand, things are very different now. There are leaders in the United States crypto task force, such as Paul Atkins, who are advocating for frameworks that strike a balance between innovation and human freedoms. This is a significant development because it indicates that cryptocurrency initiatives, particularly XRP, will be able to function in a regulatory environment that is transparent and predictable. In the case of institutional investors, predictability is of the utmost importance. These investors typically avoid assets that have legal ambiguities. Additionally, as a result of this change in regulatory stance, there has been an increase in institutional interest in XRP Ripple, and XRPL are now being recognized by banks and other financial institutions as potentially useful instruments for managing liquidity, conducting transactions across international borders, and improving trading efficiency. XRP, in contrast to a great number of other cryptocurrencies, has uses in the real world, which makes it appealing to institutions who wish to invest the cryptocurrency with trust. When the legal framework is clear, these major actors are not simply testing the waters, rather, they are putting real wealth to work through their investments. Let us now explore the impact that this has on the sentiment of the market. The confidence of institutions in XRP continues to increase, despite the fact that the retail market is experiencing anxiety and pessimism. Despite the fact that the general market may be experiencing a sense of caution, astute investors and institutions are secretly amassing XRP. This creates a situation that is one of a kind. Over the course of history, when institutions move first, retail investors tend to follow suit, which frequently results in big price hikes. Another intriguing aspect to consider is the wider repercussions that these regulatory shifts will have. The recent acceptance of Ripple as a federally regulated bank, for instance, implies that the company may now operate in accordance with precise legal parameters, which thereby reduces the risk that investors face. When you take into account statements made by the SEC that are encouraging regarding the responsible development of crypto platforms, the long-term outlook for XRP appears to be quite favorable. Investors no longer have to be concerned about unexpected legal challenges or arbitrary enforcement actions, which was a problem that plagued the market in the years prior to this one. Friends from the cosmos, here is the most important thing to take away from this. XRP's institutional advantage is rising because it is not just a speculative asset, rather it is a financial tool that is widely adopted and legally compliant. The combination of clear regulations and widespread institutional adoption gives rise to a solid basis for expansion. When additional macroeconomic considerations, such as liquidity injections and the possibility of stimulus checks, are taken into consideration, XRP is in a position to experience potentially explosive price movements in the months ahead. For example, regulatory clarification under the leadership of Paul Atkins, NASDAQ studying blockchain integration, worldwide adoption patterns, and potential stimulus checks that might infuse more liquidity into the market are all examples of things that are being considered. When combined, these elements produce an atmosphere that is ideal for development. Smart investors are buying XRP despite recent drops, demonstrating their faith in the fundamentals rather than reacting to fear-driven news related to the cryptocurrency. It is precisely in this manner that powerful rebounds are produced. On the other hand, when taking into account the potential for price, historical patterns indicate that when market mood is low but fundamentals are solid, there is the possibility for significant price appreciation. When it comes to XRP, the phrase "party starts at $100" is not just a piece of hype. Rather, it is founded on the confluence of macroeconomic fundamentals, institutional interest, and regulatory support. There is a possibility that we may witness a significant price gain, comparable to or even beyond that of prior cycles, if stimulus checks are given, liquidity increases, and the use of XRP continues to grow. In order to make a thorough prediction, it is necessary to acknowledge the uncertainties. The price of XRP could be momentarily impacted by a variety of factors, including but not limited to temporary market corrections, unanticipated economic developments, and global interest rate choices. Nevertheless, these are typically changes that are just temporary. Investors with a long-term perspective who are familiar with the fundamentals of XRP and the institutional advantage it offers are in a strong position to profit from the next large surge. There is a significant gap between what is reported in the media and what actually occurs in the world. It is possible that media outlets may continue to broadcast storylines that incite fear or bad news, but these do not accurately reflect the development that XRP has made. The technology developed by Ripple is being used by financial institutions, regulatory clarity is showing signs of improvement, and intelligent investors are amassing their stock. Because of this disparity, opportunities frequently present themselves to individuals who are patient and knowledgeable. So, what is the most important thing that the Cosmic family should take away? Within the cryptocurrency ecosystem, XRP holds a position that is unmatched by any other cryptocurrency. By combining robust fundamentals, regulatory legitimacy, and widespread adoption in the real world, it establishes a solid foundation for sustained expansion over the long term. The market is quietly preparing for strong upward momentum, despite the fact that retail mood may be cautious or apprehensive. Investors who are able to comprehend the narrative that lies beneath the headlines have a significant advantage. To summarize everything, clarity in regulatory requirements. Leaders such as Paul Atkins are working to provide a structure that safeguards investors while simultaneously fostering innovation. Adoption by institutions, banks, and other financial institutions are incorporating XRP for the purpose of offering liquidity and making international payments. The expansion of assets such as XRP is favored by macroeconomic tailwinds, which include stimulus checks, liquidity injections, and risk-on market circumstances of various kinds. Fear among individual investors generates buying chances for holders who are well informed about the market sentiment. With all of these elements coming together, there is a possibility that the price of XRP will experience major upward movement in the year 2026. XRP holders can continue to have confidence because of this cosmic family. Investors that are well informed understand the fundamentals and are able to position themselves for the next major move, in contrast to those who seek to chase trends or panic. If you are bullish on XRP, you should continue to stack, stay up to date, and always maintain your attention on the story that lies behind the price. Today's 6-part analysis has come to an end thus far. I really hope that this provides you with a comprehensive and expert perspective on XRP from a variety of perspectives, including economics, regulation, acceptance, sentiment, and price potential. Don't forget to leave a comment below with your opinions, press that like button, and stay tuned because the voyage the cryptocurrency industry is taking into the cosmos is only getting begun.